Welcome to UFOs and Jeeps, and I'm your host, George. So tonight we're going to be having a whole conversation about UFOs. The reason why we're doing this is because the Pentagon actually released a press release saying that they have extraterrestrial vehicles in their possession. And I can't understand, for the life of me, why this isn't front page news all over the world going crazy, but it's just not. So here's the press release. Take a look at it. Is that not crazy? That just blows my mind, like so blows my mind that, wow, I gotta change hats. Okay? Seriously, I gotta change hats because that blew my mind. As a matter of fact, my mind's so blown, I think my head shrunk. Seriously. So here we're gonna have a little watch on a conversation that's happening about this particular press release, but they're talking about it and they only address it at the end, and even then it's kind of yeah, okay, this is going on, but I still don't understand why this is not front page news. So here, take a look at this.
After the recent revelation that there's actually a Pentagon task force looking into them. One astrophysicist who has worked for the Pentagon's UFO program since 2007 told the New York Times that he gave a classified briefing to a Defense Department agency about retrievals from, quote, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. Are we on the brink of full disclosure about visitors from outer space? Joining me now is Christopher Mellon. He served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence during the Bill Clinton and George W. Bush administrations. He also co-hosts Unidentified, Inside America's UFO Investigation on the History Channel. So, Chris, I sense that there has been a sea change recently in the way in which these reports are being carried and covered. What accounts for it? What has gone on recently?
Yeah, thank you very much. You're absolutely right, and a good example of the sea change is the fact that none other than Scientific American itself has published an article saying the subject ought to be taken seriously and investigated by the scientific community. I think this change is largely primarily a result of the fact that the Defense Department and the Navy themselves have stood up and publicly acknowledged that this phenomenon is real, that this is happening, that our Navy pilots are encountering these vehicles, and so that imparts a credibility that simply did not exist prior to that time.
I was quoting Eric Davis. I know you're familiar with his work when I read that New York Times paragraph a moment ago. Do you believe that there are objects in our possession, broadly defined our possession, that are from something other than this Earth?
What I will say about that is that I think that assertion should be taken seriously. I know Eric very well. I understand his arguments. I was present at his briefings on the Hill, and he tried to provide some leads for them to follow to enable them potentially to confirm this. It is an issue that should be taken seriously. In fact, curiously, President Trump himself on Father's Day indicated on air while being filmed that he did have classified information about Roswell, New Mexico, which is, as most people know, is the legendary site of an alleged crash of a UFO. And when asked by his son about declassifying it, he said, "I'll have to think about it." I don't know what there is about Roswell that could be classified or interesting other than that one particular issue. So there is a lot of new press and new information coming forward. And again, as I said, I think this is a topic that the oversight committees should take seriously and investigate.
It's the only thing missing from this election. Who knows what the next 90 days brings? This is a global issue. This is not a
right?
This is not a United States issue. Are there other countries that have taken a lead in the exploration of this subject?
Absolutely. In fact, we're behind several other countries. France, for many years, has had an official process involving their national security forces and police forces. Every year they examine a number of cases and bring in outside scientists. A lot of that information is public. My colleague Lou Elizondo has made trips both to Italy and South America, and we present a lot of this information on our show, as well as a lot of information from current and former U.S. military personnel and their experiences. But you're absolutely right. This is not unique to the United States. And further, our military personnel have similar experiences when they're deployed abroad in the Middle East and Afghanistan and elsewhere. So by all accounts, it is definitely a worldwide phenomenon.
A final question. Can technology alone account for what you and I are discussing? It occurs to me that by day, I make my living by speaking on Sirius XM, and my voice is bouncing across the United States on a satellite. I assume right now this conversation is doing likewise. There's a lot of stuff up in the atmosphere that didn't used to be there. Can that be an explanation, or is that too simplistic?
I do believe it's too simplistic, and the reason I say that is because in some of these cases, we have information from multiple radar systems, infrared systems, multiple naval personnel on the ground and in the air, and we're tracking these objects, performing maneuvers that clearly indicate they're under intelligent control. They're responding to our aircraft, they're out maneuvering them, and they're doing things that are far beyond any capability we possess. So that's certainly a hypothesis to consider. We have to keep an open mind going forward, but I don't think we're going to find at the end of the day that kind of explanation can explain cases like that.
So you can see this is amazing. To me, this is absolute tremendous news that the whole world should be talking about. Can fix most of our problems environmentally, socially, you name it. The technology is just awesome, and so, you know, we could be fixing our global warming and fix our oil crisis and all these things that are going on. So I don't understand why we're not pushing this forward, but hopefully things like this and people like you watching and talking about it and getting out there and talking about it will help. So here I have some UFO footage that I think is pretty impressive that I'm going to show you now.
We're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The video is said to be taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. There you see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing. Those clips have gone viral now.
The wind's 120 knots to the west.
Often getting mixed up with the USS Nimitz UFO incident, this sighting actually took place aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt by the coast of Florida. Out of the three videos, the object in gimbal arguably looks the most like a flying saucer. Before you jump to any conclusions, skeptical investigator Mick West has called all three of these sightings into question, believing the gimbal object is just a plane.
Well, if there's a thing, it's rotating.
Honestly, the world may never know. If you think this is all of the UFO information that the US government's been sitting on, former Senator Harry Reid claims that it, quote, only scratches the surface.
Because I don't think no one has the answers. And that is too bad, because there are answers out there. But we're not going to get answers just by hoping they come. You're going to have to take some work.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this.
Up there in the sky, here's a really interesting story. A Russian cosmonaut who is currently up there on the International Space Station right now has suggested he may have filmed a UFO in orbit. I want to show you the video he posted. This happened when he was filming the Aurora Borealis. He was doing a time lapse. Just into the time lapse, there's a few objects that appear. We're going to freeze it for you so you can get a good look at it. 5 objects appear flying alongside each other with the same distance in between them. Ivan Wagner, the cosmonaut in question, tweeted, quote, what do you think these are? Meteorites, satellites, or ... He suggested they may have been, quote, space guests. Whatever they were obviously arranged in a clear, angled line. The cosmonaut says he sent his video to the authorities in Russia for further evaluation. All right, meantime, this may be the greatest news you've heard all weekend if you enjoy a tipple on a Friday night. Scientists think they found a hangover cure, a milligram dose of an amino acid called L-cysteine. It was found to reduce the pounding headache, the nausea, and alleviate all the stress and anxiety that goes along with the hangover. Researchers say, as well as reducing all of those unpleasant symptoms, it also prevented a lot of people in the trial from wanting to drink the next day, and that could really eliminate a lot of alcohol dependencies. So fingers crossed for this hangover cure.
So that's our show for tonight, UFOs and Jeeps. Thanks you very much for taking a watch this week. On October 30th, we're going to do a Halloween party out at Hawerlak Park at Picnic Shelter Number 1 at 7:30 in the evening. It's going to be a family-friendly event, and we're going to be doing physical distancing and masks. We're outside with lots of room, so we can be safe and have some fun. Come on out, take a look at the skies. Mars is going to be out. It's a blue moon, which is the second full moon in 1 month, which is really cool. You don't see that very often. It's only, 2 or 3 years you can see that. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool night. You should be able to see Saturn and Jupiter and Uranus and Neptune and Venus. There's a lot of planets out right now that you can see as well, kind of scattered all over the sky. So there's a lot of really cool things to see. So come on out and join us. We'd love to see you. In the meantime, take a look for our new episode next week. So thanks for joining us at UFOs and Jeeps. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.